Today I've got with me one of the prominent industrial guests and a very policy maker from the NITI Aayog, Mr. Himanshu with us. So welcome back to Chandigarh
Hi,
University.
sir.
And it's a very important occasion today as we are in the AI Fest 2026 at Chandigarh University. And it's been organized at the sidelines of AI Impacts yesterday. First reaction that you have for organizing all like event like this, the stature of the events where angel investors, startups are coming up, where the pitching is going on. Students from across the country, 10,000 plus students are coming up to have the startups and AI is in the center. The first initial remarks on this, sir.
It reminds me of 2023 when India hosted a G20 summit, right? I think all of us, this was the first sort of mega event where international people had come. I was fortunate enough to hold a mega summit on Startup 20, which was a newly formed engagement group. So it reminds me of something similar. You see students from multiple countries here. Somebody told me it's about 200 universities are being represented here today. I think the only newer thing or only addition that has happened over that is that element of AI. This entire week I was in Delhi at the AI Impact Summit, right? And similar energy vibe. So it feels that I've never left the Impact Summit, which ended yesterday for me, and this just continues here, right? Same set of people, similar set of pedigree, and at the entire thing, students are at the background, right? Which are making this transformational change in AI that the Chandigarh University is going to enable in the next 4 to 5 years.
When India is hosting one of the important summit, AI summit, which concluded yesterday, the outcome here is that we are organizing, Chandigarh University is organizing, is the first university in the country to organize this stature of the AI Fest. So how do you think this will change a lot of course in the coming time? Because what we need is everybody is talking, it's buzzing about the AI, but we are not making a policy direction in this, that what should be needed, what is needed, how the AI can work, how the startups can be boosted, what sort of strategy, policy making, the outcome shall be needed. So we are the first university, Chandigarh University, the first university which has included the guests from every persona, be that AI, be that entrepreneurs, to boost the students. Because this is the generation which is going to lead the country in the next some years. Because AI is not a buzzing word now, it's a happening, it's a real boost is coming up. So how do you see this fest being organized at university? Students are being a platform to meet the people who are from the across the domains who have done something really landmark in their careers at this time.
See, I see it at two levels, right? When the country was opening up to the startup ecosystem about 5-7 years back, today we have almost 220,000 startups in the country. That created a startup policy for each state. Today, with this AI Fest and an AI Impact Summit that recently got concluded, I see a lot of states now coming up with an AI policy that will be both for startups and for AI for good. AI for good again has two connotations for me. One is AI for good means it is going to help the humanity as a whole, help solve the problem. The other is when we say AI for good means it's here to stay, right? As we say, here for good, right? And I think Chandigarh University is also taking some steps towards building up a policy framework and course curriculum that's going to train a lot of students that will drive the next generation of AI enablement. Honorable Minister Ashwini Vaishnav was also talking about the same thing 2 days ago when he mentioned that India will provide the human capital when we signed the Pax Silica thing. That the manpower will come from India, for which we need trained people. And Chandigarh University, I feel, is at the center of it because of its presence in both Lucknow and Chandigarh, probably the two biggest hub in the country outside Delhi.
When you talk about AI and ethics, there is a very, you can say, a bad image of the things is coming up, that there's a threat of AI, ethical use of AI. And I'm very fortunate to share with you that Chandigarh University has launched its AI mission as well, a policy
Yeah.
which will drive 1.5 lakh youths from across the country, from across the region, from university, will train them so that the ethical use of AI can be spread. The students have we can say a major eye on the subject, that how can we use AI ethics. So how do you see this, this step is being taken with the launch of AI mission, with the 1.5 lakh youth will be trained to use, will be the AI, AI ethical use training will be given to a 1.5 lakh. So these things, how do you see? Because as a policy maker, you have the eye on everything, that after 5 years, the revolution, after 10 years, the revolution of AI will be spread everywhere.
First thing, a small clarification. AI is something where I don't see any policymaker or anybody can even think of a long term, right? It's changing that fast, right? So somebody who says that I have a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan, I don't believe that plan ever exists amongst anybody. I think one critical thing with respect to AI for good or AI for ethics is that India being a country of a global south, right, and a major voice as well, right, a 1.5 billion population, right, a lot of data that models are being built on is within India. Or for example, India is providing that data to a lot of these big tech companies that are building models, right? What are they going to use that data for, right? That's one big ethical issue. Where is the data going to reside, whether it's been India or outside India, right? So I think from a policy perspective, I think government is still trying to figure out what is the right ethical thing, and it's bringing up different policies both at the central government level, also at the state government level.
Chandigarh University is very like from the foundation days only. It has already always been with the industry. When you talk about we organize events like CAB, where the industry leaders come from different persona, from different countries, from across the board. I can't say what's going to happen in the AI revolution is taking place. I can't say anything because it's a very vast evolution. I can't stipulate myself on that subject.
Yes.
But when you talk about Chandigarh University, you have witnessed many events here as well. So, do you think that the universities have to take a lead on the subject that we shall be ready preponderantly about the thing that yes, AI revolution is taking place. We shall not like produce those things only, but we shall be inculcating and imparting like a practical, pragmatic emphasis shall be laid on the AI co-curricularly, just like Chandigarh University is doing.
So I think the first point you mentioned at the start only, that you need to be tied or working together with the industry, right? Because universities are sort of hotbed of great ideas, right? But industries know what is the demand from the market, right? So you may have a great idea, but you may not have a demand at this point for the same, right? So you need to work with the industries together. Obviously, there are certain research that will keep on happening, which may not have a market today, but where you continue doing that. The second, I think, right from the starting, when the student enters the university, because he's just graduating from a school, and schools across India at a various maturity level. Schools in the metros, for example, will have exposure to AI, but somebody from a remote corner of Himachal or even Punjab or Haryana, which could be the captive audience for Chandigarh University, may not have the same awareness, right? So the second thing is maybe ensure there's some sort of a level playing field, right? Where people who are aware of AI or who know AI or who have worked on AI don't really get stifled because they are working with somebody who doesn't know AI. And same is vice versa for the somebody who doesn't know, should not get overwhelmed by, hey, I may not know everything, right? So maybe just ensure that there's a level playing field.
When you talk about nation at the large, because without nation we are incomplete. That's an identity we have. We were like the last time the France was hosting the fest. Now we hosted again at the Delhi at the summit. There were like major countries, the major people who hold the stake on AI. They were there. Apart from the controversies that happened, we won't be focusing on the controversy. We'll be focusing on the key takeaways that we got from. We had the CEOs from the AI zone. We have CEOs from the Google, Anywhere, AI, Alt, Open AI. The major chunk of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi's speech was that India shall be pre-ready for the things. So,
Yes.
how do you see Prime Minister Modi's statement inculcating the people of this country, inculcating youth? We have a youngest population in the country. So, get ready. The zone, the AI startup zone is coming up. My youngsters, because we are the third largest ecosystem in the world when we talk about startups. So what you see that when we align the both the fest at the Delhi at the Chandigarh University, we'll let you speak on the major national level fest. So how do you see that? That fest is coming up, getting up to the people from across the cities, be that metro cities, be that tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So what do you see there?
See, if you look at this entire AI, as the Honorable Minister of Electronics and IT, Ashwini Vaishnav also talked about, there are two parts to it. One is the hardware part of it, right, which is where you have the GPUs, the semiconductors that are going to drive this entire AI enablement, right? There's huge investment that the government has made. You have a mission that talks about the entire semiconductor supply chain. And parallel government is also working on rare earth that goes into the semiconductors, right? So that's one part of it. The other part of it is where you are building the models which are useful,
Right.
which I would say in crude ways the software part of it, right? And you have startups that are working on both sides of it, right? So government is acting as an enabler, that is one. Whatever our capacity is to invest money, both directly to the startups, to the industry. When I say industry, it could be the proper corporates or even multinationals to come and make India the base, right? And obviously there are only two countries above a billion population. One is China, the other is India.
India.
If you want to build a model on that wider population, right, there's no better place than India, because China, any which way, is to a certain extent closed, and that model is not equitable. You cannot build something on a Chinese model and then take it out of India. Honorable Prime Minister any which way said that India will want to build it for itself, and also enable the export to the larger world. When we did vaccine, for example, when we are open to giving our UPI to some of these countries, right? So it's a pivotal step, because now we're coming from France to India, and then I think the next one is going back to Switzerland.
When you say 2047 is not very far, because India will be celebrating its 100th of independence, we have certain goals at place. So a journey is being carved out, have a Viksit Bharat, to have a like developed India, because we took almost many years now to get, like, countries after than us took freedom, they're developing on the stage, but we still lack something in between. But 2047 is the goal vision we see, and every Indian, 1.4 billion people, the hearts beat that we want to see the country develop by 2047, which have the different proponents, youngsters, farmers of this country, be that the Viksit ambassadors are also there. And major proponent will be of the youngsters, how we will playing the role to the nation.
It's a very interesting question, but I always believe that the next generation is much more aware than us, right? And I think a big credit needs to be given to very cheap internet, right? That has ensured that almost every youngster today has a smartphone, and which means that he has AI in his pocket, right? Anything that you want to need, you can just Google or Chat GPT, for example, right? I think whenever I talk to youngsters, I'm even more comfortable that they are more aware. I always get to learn more from a youngster than talking to somebody at my age, or maybe somebody elder than me, right? So I think whether it's 2047, 2030, 2035, whatever we want to call it,
Right.
Right? I think the newer generation, one, the awareness, two, the other element is the hunger, right? The hunger to learn more. And because of internet, there has been democratization of sort of knowledge. So for example, somebody here at Chandigarh University versus a tier 2 college versus maybe an IIT, right, are almost at the same platter. They are aware and have access to the same set of information.
Thank you so much for joining us, sir. And the remarks that you gave, will definitely try to intervene in that and try to inculcate in us in a policy as well. Thank you
Sure.
so much, ladies and
Thanks.
gentlemen. It was
Thanks.
Mr. Himanshu Joshi.